Your soul has a lot of wisdom. My soul does, your soul does. We all have answers within us, and we don't have to look to external sources or people or things or read about them to find the answers. So being able to discern from your ego mind versus your intuition is an extremely powerful tool. Also, I apologize because there is a dog sleeping on my floor right now, and she's a really fat old pit bull, and she likes to snore. So if you can hear some like slight noise in the background, that is her on the floor snoring. So thanks, Mocha. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on this YouTube video. My name is Michelle and welcome to my channel called Michelle the Mystic. So in today's video, I wanted to talk to you about the top 10 most powerful things or lessons that I've come to realize, that I've come to learn thus far on my own spiritual journey. If that sounds like something that you are interested in learning about, then please keep on watching. So first and foremost, I have to say a disclaimer that anything that I talk about in this video, anything that I've talked about in any other videos, I'm talking through my personal spiritual experience. I am one person having one experience. I can't speak for the entire spiritual community. So if the things that I say, if anything that I say doesn't agree with you, doesn't align with you, that is completely okay. You don't have to take that if it does not resonate with you. And what I say is not the ultimate truth. The point of these videos is to share my truth and to help you guys uncover your own. And so whatever I say is just from my own experience. So take that with a grain of salt. Everything is relative, everything is perspective. So just keep an open mind, keep an open perspective, and I'm sure that you will gain some new information and hopefully learn something. So with all of that in mind, let's get on to the first item. All right, so the first item that I want to talk to you guys about is how to tap into your intuition, how to understand what it feels like, and how to truly trust yourself so that you are able to be guided by all of the wisdom and intuition that you already have. And so this is probably my number one item because it is extremely huge for me in my spiritual journey. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, spiritual awakenings and spiritual journeys are really tough, and the past 6 months have been very tough for me emotionally and mentally. And so one of the biggest things that I've struggled with is self-doubt and trust. And so that really goes into this point of intuition, and that's why I wanted it to be the first item. So what I really mean by tapping into your intuition and understanding your intuition and trusting yourself, the lesson that I learned was how to identify that feeling in my body, like in my physical body, how to understand when I am being guided by intuition versus ego or versus my thoughts. And so it can be really tricky to discern those things, especially if you are a person who overthinks, especially if you are a person who has a lot of doubt and questions yourself a lot, that goes into the idea of trusting yourself. Intuition is all about trusting yourself. So when you have an innate ability and an innate connection with your body and with your mind, when you are in that space of acceptance within yourself, that's when you allow your intuition to speak to you. So I don't know where I heard this saying, but I heard a quote that said, "Your ego screams and your intuition whispers." And so that can be an indication as to how you can identify when your intuition is truly speaking to you versus like your ego. If you find yourself when you're thinking about things and you're questioning things, you're doubting yourself, and something is going off in your brain, you're thinking all these really loud thoughts, like maybe you're not good enough, maybe you can't do that thing, you can't get that job, you can't get that person, whatever it is, if it's really loud and obnoxious in your mind, it's probably your ego, because your ego is trying to protect you. That's what its job is. And usually how it does that is it goes to the worst case scenario, so that if you believe the worst case scenario, then you ultimately won't be hurt by, if that actually came true. Anything better than the worst case scenario is going to be better for you, and you are going to protect yourself that way. So that's how the ego operates, but your intuition is always there to give you the truth. It's always there to guide you to something that's better, to something that is of your highest good. It's always nudging you to do the best thing for yourself, for your highest good. And it doesn't scream at you, it patiently waits, it tells you what you need, and it comes in the form of either a gut feeling, maybe a moment of clarity in your thoughts, or just an aha moment. And so understanding that these things that happen to you are your intuition and being able to trust that and just go with the flow, then that's a really, really important lesson that you guys should understand. And that's a really important lesson that I learned too. So lesson number 2 is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so if you are part of the spiritual community already, you've likely heard this phrase before and sort of understand what it means. But this is a huge lesson that I've had to come to terms with and I've learned through my process, because what this quote or what this phrase really means is that we have a truer version of ourselves that is not this physical body, that does not exist in this 3D reality on earth as a physical body. We have a soul that exists in the higher dimensions, that exists inside the universe with the universe, and that is our truest version of ourselves. That is the oldest, most ancient and wise version of ourselves. That's our soul. So what's really cool and exciting about this lesson and this insight, and the reason it's so powerful for me, is that you stop looking at your life as just this physical body, the things that you've learned in this lifetime, the people you've encountered, the experiences you've had. You stop looking at it from that type of lens, and you back up and you look at it from a different perspective, thinking that you have a higher version of yourself that's always guiding you, that's always there, and that you have a higher purpose that is not defined here on this reality. And it allows you to step back and understand that you have an identity that's not tied to this physical body. And that's freaking cool. That's awesome. So whatever you are, whatever circumstances you are in, your physical body, your situation, your environment, that does not define you, because who you truly are, your highest version of yourself, the highest version of you, exists in another dimension, exists in a higher plane. And it is so knowledgeable. It is so wise. It is just amazing. And so you don't have to be defined by your physical body and your physical environment anymore. All right, lesson number 3 is progress and expansion is not linear, meaning your progress in your spiritual journey, in your spiritual awakening, your ascension, your evolvement is not linear. And so it doesn't just go up. It doesn't just go up in a straight line. There are a lot of twists and turns, backtracks. It's not a straightforward shot. It's not like you awaken and you understand everything about yourself, you understand everything about the universe, and you just ascend and keep ascending to this perfect level. It's not like that. And obviously you guys probably know that and understand that, but it's also just not an easy process. When we are ascending, when we are becoming enlightened or awakened, it's not easy for us because we know we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of things to learn, lessons to learn, experiences to have happen, and healing to do. We have a lot of trauma to work through, emotional, mental, physical, all of those things. Everybody has baggage, everybody has things to work on. And so when we get on this process, it's really exciting to see how much you're changing, how much you're growing, how much you're evolving in the beginning. And you're like, wow, this is awesome. And I want to keep doing this. I want to keep becoming the best version of myself that I possibly can be. And it's super exciting that you even get the chance to awaken and ascend like this. There are always going to be twists and turns, and a lot of times during your process, it's going to feel stagnant. You might feel stuck in a phase or a cycle that you're in. You might feel like you're not progressing. Maybe you look back at the lessons and things and experiences that you've had, maybe spiritual or mystical, and you're like, I want to recreate those. I want those experiences again. I was doing better in that time of my spiritual journey. I was understanding more, I was learning more, I was more open, and now things have changed. Obviously, things are always changing. You cannot go back to how you used to be. And a lot of times, because things don't happen exactly the way that they did before, we feel like we're not progressing. We often feel like each spiritual experience has to top the next one, and it has to be like this linear progression, when in actuality, it's not that way. spiritual experiences and lessons come as we need them. And a lot of times, actually, in our process and in our journey, we need moments that are stagnant so that we can catch up, so that we can evolve and rest. We need those periods of stagnation. Everything is part of the process, and it's not linear, and it's okay to think that you've healed, to think that you've done enough work, and then to be called back or yanked back to do more work, to do more shadow work, to do healing, to do anything that you need to do. And it's just part of the process. There's going to be mistakes. You're going to get things wrong. You're going to question things. You're going to doubt things. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to sit in confusion with the universe and ask them, why are these things happening? I don't understand. I'm confused by this situation. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to chase all the answers either. You don't always have to be getting better every single day. There are some days that are worse than others, and that's just how it happens. You are still a human, and that's just the way that life works. So, all right, so lesson number 4 is that there is duality in everything, and so balance is key. This has been a huge lesson for me, and I know that I've said that about almost all of them, and I probably will for the rest of them too. So what I mean by this is that there is duality in everything, and the law of duality is that, you can't have one thing without the other. And the classic case is that you can't have light without dark, because then you won't know what's the difference. And there's an example of, you have a candle and you can stand right in front of the candle and experience all the light, but behind you is the biggest shadow. And if you back up, then the shadow gets smaller, the light gets stronger. And so there's balance in everything. You can't have completely one, or you can't have completely the other. And balance is huge because we are, like I said, spiritual beings having a human experience. And it is really easy for us to, once we've awakened, to just experience things and want to be completely spiritual and forget about, humans, forget about money, forget about politics, all that kind of stuff, and be like, I'm a spiritual god or whatever, But what makes humans so special is that the purpose in life and our purpose usually comes from seeking the spiritual side of things. And so once we understand that spiritual nature, that spiritual part of ourselves, we're able to bring that into humanity and into this 3D reality and start creating things that bless us and bless other humans and really start change in the world. And so understanding that in your day-to-day life, you've awakened, you've grown, you've evolved, whatever it is, you're on your own spiritual journey. Make enough time for your spiritual stuff, but then you can't neglect the human aspects of your life. You can't just, throw all your friends to the side. You can't quit your job and have no money. You can't, you have to be able to balance these things. And it's really an art. It is, because it's hard to go out in the world and to have a lot of compassion and love for people when, things in life are hard, and people are going through experiences and being mean to each other, and the world can be ugly sometimes. And so having that spiritual light within you is really difficult to keep shining when other people want to dim your light. So a good practice I have for this is, I do my spiritual practices in the morning, and if I feel like I really need it, I do self-care rituals and I do other extra meditations, and I make sure that I try to stay in alignment in different ways throughout my life. But I'm also at the same time trying to keep myself healthy, trying to keep my body physically active, trying to engage more with my family, with my friends, and keep those social circles available. And then also at the same time trying to develop my career as an engineer and do all of those things. So lesson number 5 is surrender. Ask and you shall receive. The universe always listens to your desires and your wishes. So this one has been another really big and powerful lesson for me, because what it truly means to surrender is to understand that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We have a higher self that's always guiding us. We have a whole spiritual team that's guiding us in different dimensions. That's all great and all, but we are co-creating with the universe. Whatever action we do, the universe takes an action as well. It's sort of 50-50. And so when we understand that our actions have consequences, the thoughts we think, the things we say out loud, these are all going out into the universe and telling the universe what we want. And so it's it's key to understand and to pay attention to what you're putting out there in the universe, because the universe listens and then the universe delivers. So when you surrender to this process, when you understand that you can't control everything in the universe, you can't control other people, you can't control other people's thoughts or actions or behaviors. You can only control yourself. You can control your thoughts, your actions, your reactions. So once you understand that you don't have control over all of these things, and even the things that you want in your life, you want to try to manifest, but they are just harder to manifest, or they're big dreams or big goals, you can offer up that to the universe. You can surrender, because the universe has a plan for you and it wants to give you everything that you ever wanted, but it doesn't usually go according to your plan. It doesn't go in the timeline that you want. So the universe always has a plan that's going to be better than yours, and a hard truth and a hard lesson is that you have to surrender to that, because if you don't, you're just going to keep getting the lessons that you need to learn time and time again. The universe is very patient. And so whatever you need to learn, you will learn that from the universe. And so if there's something that you're struggling with or something that you really want, surrender that up to the universe, give control away. This is a beautiful way of trusting the universe and understanding that once you do this, that you cannot go wrong, that whatever is meant for you will find you. If it's truly meant for you, the universe will deliver it to you. So that's a huge lesson, and I hope you guys kind of understand what I'm talking about there. So item number 6 is that everything is energy and everything is vibration. So what this lesson really means for me is that everything, every object, person, animal, thing is operating in its own unique vibration, in its own unique energy. And energy is the way that the universe communicates. And so that's how we are able to pick up on spiritual things and other beings, is through vibration and through energy. That's how you receive downloads from the universe. That's how you receive understandings of intuition. That's how you perceive other people in the world, how you can feel the energy of crystals, all those kinds of things. So energy is truly the way that we operate, and understanding that gives you, it opens up your perceptions and it opens up your sensory abilities to just understanding other humans and your own body a little bit more. So yeah, everything is energy, everything is vibration, and you have the ability to pick up on it. So lesson number 7 that I learned in my spiritual process and my spiritual journey this far is that it really comes from the universal law of oneness, that everything is connected and that we are projections of God or the universe ourselves. Once I realized this, it was just sort of a moment of clarity that I didn't have to think of God or the universe as this great almighty thing, that God and the universe created me and created everybody, everything as a projection of itself to experience and understand that reality. That is what the universe did. It created Earth, and it created all these people in different perspectives, in different places, in different times, different understandings, to experience things and to experience life on Earth fully from every single angle. And so once you understand that everyone and everything is connected, we are connected to nature, we are connected to animals, other people, everything we are connected to. It's just this network of the universe, of oneness. Once you understand that, it just changes your whole perspective. You feel like you have a piece of God, that you are a true and authentic divine being that is directly connected to universe, to source. And it's super cool. It just makes you feel a lot bigger than yourself. It makes you feel like you have a lot more power and ability to influence things, and you feel more sacred and in touch with the divine, with universe, with source. And so that's just been a huge lesson. And it's often that we forget those things, that we are connected and that we are here for a purpose, and the purpose is to understand and it's to experience. And so knowing that and understanding that you are God yourself, that you are the universe and you are directly connected to the universe all the time, just makes you feel so much more spiritual and connected and having a bigger picture to everything that is life, and gives greater purpose to what you're doing, and far beyond your human life here. So that's a really great lesson that I learned. Lesson number 8 is that everything happens for a reason. Now, this one is the old cliche, everything happens for a reason. You can choose to believe it or not, but that is something that I've completely 100% surrendered to. Everything happens for a reason. And this goes back to the fact that the universe is you. You are the universe. We are spirits having a human experience, and the universe has a plan for you. It created you in this reality to live on Earth in this 3D environment so that you could have a specific experience, so you could gain specific skills and learn things that you haven't learned before. And so understanding that everything that's happened in your life was not a mistake gives greater purpose to the things that are happening for you. And I say that specifically because things happen for you. And a lot of people in today's society imagine the world as against them, that things in the world are against me, things are happening to me, when that's really not the case. All these experiences, if you think about it, are here to help you grow and to evolve. People just choose not to see that, and people choose to run away from things that they don't want to learn about or they don't want to experience, and they hide. And because it's growth is difficult and expansion is really difficult, but that's our purpose here on this earth, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. And so understanding that whatever tragic experience that you've had, and I'm not laughing at that because I've had a lot of trauma in my life and I've had to do a lot of healing, mostly alone, and understanding that things that are happening to you they're not to hurt you, they're not to break you down, they're actually meant for you to evolve. And once you understand them from that perspective, you have gratitude for them. You have gratitude for the way that people hurt you, the things that you've experienced, the trauma that you've had. You have gratitude because you've gotten stronger, you've gotten better, and you should be grateful and you should be so proud of your ability to do that and to learn from that, because not a lot of people do that in their life. People choose to run, people choose to hide. And so when you understand that the things that have happened in your life, whether good or bad, they all happen for a reason, and you back up from the perspective and understand that that thing didn't happen because I had something better coming along, or this thing's not going to happen because I have something better coming along. That's a really great perspective to have, and to understand that, rejections happen, and rejection is divine protection. You are going in the right direction, and the universe will always guide you there. So everything happens for a reason. The universe always has a plan for you that's better than your own. And so when something doesn't work out, it's probably because your plan was just going to lead you down the wrong path, and the universe had to, force things in a different direction. And that's completely okay. That's totally fine. So everything happens for a reason. All right, and lesson number 9 is that everyone's experience is tailored specifically to them. So I mentioned this in the disclaimer that my experience and my journey has been for me, and probably no one else has experienced it exactly the way that I have, hopefully not. But everything happens for a specific reason, and it happens in a specific way for that person. So this was a huge lesson for me when I realized that a lot of my friends and family actually believe a lot of the same things that I do, but they learned it in a different perspective because they had different experiences, and they have different perspectives on it as well. A big example of this is when I talked to my mother, and I was talking to her about my beliefs in angels and spirit guides and all those kinds of things, and the ways that I communicate with the universe and angels and spirits. And it's not like she doesn't believe in those things, but her journey, her spiritual journey, has just been completely different from mine. She's had a completely different life, and what she believes in so strongly is just so tied to her identity, to her truth, and that's 100% valid for her. In her lifetime, she might not need to awaken to the level that I have. She might have already awakened in a different way. It's completely subjective to the person and what their experiences need to be, what their lessons need to teach them. So understanding that everybody's journey is different means that your truths may not be completely aligned with other people's truths, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're wrong, and it doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means that what you believe, what you've come to understand through your own journey, is meant for you to grow and expand and learn the lessons that you need to in this lifetime, because you've signed up to learn these lessons. You've signed up to experience life in a certain way so you can get that perspective, get that understanding. something, and that person has learned, or that person has signed up to do it in their way. And so their way is going to be different, and some things just might not be aligned. And that's completely okay. And so finally, lesson number 10 is to stop seeking answers from external sources outside of yourself, from other people, other things, other articles, whatever it might be. Stop seeking answers from external sources. And I mentioned this briefly in one of the other points that I made, is that you have to trust yourself. You have to know when you are receiving guidance, inner guidance, and understand when that is, different from what other people are trying to tell you. It's really common in today's society, when you don't understand something, to seek an outside opinion. And I'm not saying to not seek an outside opinion. I'm not saying to not do your research or anything like that, to take things at face value. What I'm trying to say is that your soul knows so much. It has so much wisdom from the lifetimes of reincarnation that it's experienced, from your higher self that's available to you, from your guidance from the universe. Your soul knows so much. The lesson that I really learned here is that a lot of people know different things, but a lot of people have not been in your situation, have never experienced the things that you have in your way. And that's totally fine. You can't expect that to happen, but people will always have opinions about you, about your life, about your looks, about the way that you talk, whatever it is. Everyone has an opinion. You can't please everybody. And if you try to do that, you're likely going to be unhappy. And so when I say you need to stop looking for external validation, external ideas and sources, I'm really just encouraging you guys to find wisdom and find the answers within yourself. And that's what I had to learn too, that a lot of people don't know my situation. A lot of people will never know my situation unless I sit down and explain it to them, which they probably don't want because it's whatever. But yeah, so a lot of people don't know your situation, and so they can't give you sound advice, and maybe you don't even want to take that advice. You honestly know the best thing for yourself, and the best thing that you can do to honor yourself and to honor your intuition and your abilities is to ask and seek the answers from within. And the way that you do that is to allow space and time. Ask the question to yourself in meditation while you're falling asleep, through prayer, whatever it is. Put it out there into the universe and allow time and space for the answer to come back to you naturally. And honestly, once you find the answers from yourself, you're going to have a lot more trust, a lot more love for yourself as well. And so that's just a lesson that I learned, and I'm really grateful for that. So yeah. So that is all I have for you guys in today's video on the top 10 most powerful things and lessons that I've come to realize and I've learned throughout my spiritual awakening this far. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. I'm a new YouTuber, so it would really help me out if you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up and share with anyone who you feel it would resonate with. And if you resonate with me and my messages here on YouTube, then please subscribe to my channel. It would really help me out, and I would love to see you back here.